Alright guys, I'm back with another video. I saw this article on Forbes.com. It's from Scott Mendelson. The box office. Black Widow suffers a record for Marvel 80% Friday drop. And it goes on to talk about how it, in this example, he's saying it's got slammed by Space Jam, A New Legacy on Friday night, taking a brutal 79.7% drop from its $39.5 million opening day. So he's talking about the Friday to Friday drop has been almost 80%. And he's like, it puts it about on par with the 81% tumble of Batman v Superman and the 83% drop for Dark Phoenix, and it's by far the worst Friday to Friday drop for an MCU flick. And there's multiple reasons for it. I mean, it's still made in 8 days $113 million. So, I mean, me personally, just my quick thoughts on the movie is I think it started off well, and then it kind of devolved into your typical, and I almost kind of hate to say this because I like comic book movies, but it kind of devolved into your typical comic book movie pablum, where it's just, okay, we've seen this before, you're just reiterating what we've already seen. It kind of just devolves into your almost kind of generic Saturday morning cartoon type thing. And then there's some extremely unrealistic and just weird, stupid parts, like involving basically where Natasha has to injure herself to remove her sense of smell so that she can't be mind controlled. Or I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't know if you want to watch it. I mean, if you do, hey, that's great. Me personally, I wouldn't really recommend it. It's okay. There's some parts that are really good and there's some parts that are kind of solid. Then there's other parts that are just complete bullshit. And you're like, well, what the hell, dude? Like the stuff with the Taskmaster, which, spoiler alert, it's that guy's daughter all along, even though it's a man. It's an actual man doing all that stuff, but they just, CG on a woman's face. Like, what the hell? What kind of bullshit is that? But anyway, Scott here is arguing that basically, he said you could argue that the Disney Plus Premier Access availability ate into it, and it's possible. But he also said that it has decent weekday grosses and holds, so it'd probably be like kind of like F9 or Quiet Place Part 2, where a lot of the post debut demand gets filled not on weekend 2, but on the first batch of Monday, Thursday weekdays. And he's also talking about, it goes on, it'll still have around 130 domestic, 265 million worldwide by tomorrow night. Spider-Man, the second Ant-Man, they took harsh drops, for Marvel, as he says, then laid it out. Then he goes into some more like intricate like details and numbers and stuff, talking about the multiplier drop, and Suicide Squad may be a more ideal example. I mean, this is a guy, Scott Mendelson. He really gets in depth with this kind of stuff, and he tries to go just by the information and everything. So that's cool. I appreciate it. But anyway, basically he's just talking about how it's not all bad news. Yeah, it's had a tremendous drop, and I'm sure there's a variety of reasons for that. Number one, I don't think it's got good word of mouth. I don't know. At least among the people I know, it doesn't have very good word of mouth. Maybe where you're at, or on certain parts of Twitter. I imagine Twitter's probably really liking it. I don't really know for sure, but it doesn't have good word of mouth. How much of it's tied to the pandemic? How much of it is tied to like, okay, I want to rush out and I got kids. I want to take them to Space Jam or something like. I don't really know. Although I've heard that Space Jam isn't very good either. I haven't seen it. I don't really want to watch it because it's a kids movie. It's not really my kind of movie. Yeah, I like some of the basketball guys in it and everything. I like LeBron as a player. LeBron James. I don't like him necessarily as like a authority figure, or however you want to look at him, and that's the way he looks at himself, because he's not a very thoughtful person. Basically, I mean, he's a basketball player. I don't expect him to be. I don't put increased awareness or importance on like what a celebrity thinks, no matter what, whether they're conservative, liberal, whatever. It's like you're a celebrity, you don't know what it's like in the real world. And the best celebrities openly admit that. They say, hey, I don't know anything, so, don't ask me about it. I remember a quote from John Mayer saying, he's like, I'm a fucking guitar player. Why are you asking me about politics? This was years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but to that effect, it's like exactly. Why are you? These to become the best or to become good at something, you almost have to neglect other areas. In order to be a great basketball player, LeBron James doesn't have time to stay up to date on politics and policies and all this kind of stuff. Okay, but anyway, I'm veering way off course here. Point is, with the Black Widow, some of it might be the pandemic for the drop. Some of it might be the word of mouth might not be there. Some of it is other movies. It could just be that there's people who are scared to go to the movie theaters. Still, I don't know. I mean, I personally wouldn't be, but hey, that's me. That's not everybody. Anyway, so Scott, kind of goes on and on. He talks some more stuff about it, and then he kind of mentions how some of these movies they're available to stream in various places, and that might have something to do with it as well. But basically, it's good news and well, a little good news, and it's obviously it's bad news. Anytime you're going to have a drop. Every movie drops from weekend to weekend, especially from first to second weekend. There's a huge drop, but you you would hope it wouldn't be that high. You would hope it wouldn't be like 80% drop. That's a hell of a lot. But at the same time, like I said, the good news is that it's getting some business during the week, but also it's on that Disney Plus and all that stuff. But so it's probably not as bad as some people are making it out to be, but it's also definitely not as good as other people are surely making it out to be. Because I'm sure that the usual the usual blue check crew is out there trying to run cover for this, and it's just And I also do think, just real quick, I think some of the reason that a drop off might be for Black Widow is there's people who don't want to see a prequel, like period. But then they also don't want to see a prequel to a character who's dead. They're like, what the hell's the point? But whatever. Anyway, I'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.